that isn't meant for you. All right, Pisces, let's get into your reading. The moment these cards hit the table, something heavy pressed against my chest and refused to lift. I have done thousands of readings, and very few carried the kind of ache that sits here today. This person, tied to your energy, holds a truth, and that truth vibrates through every card with force. What I see here is not gentle, and I need you to steady yourself before we continue. Your spirit searched for this exact reading tonight, and the reason lives inside the cards already. So, the message that I have for you today is this, and it demands your full attention. It will sting when you uncover what was hidden, and the tears that follow come from deep recognition. This is not a surface wound or passing frustration. This is a revelation that reshapes your understanding. The truth waiting here was buried deliberately, and uncovering it changes the lens you looked through entirely. Let me go ahead and dive into it, because the cards refuse to soften what they reveal. The ache you sense before the truth even lands, that is intuition confirming what your mind resisted. The cards did not gather this energy to frighten you. They gathered it because you deserve full truth. The first card is the Three of Swords, and this pierced through the spread with unavoidable force. The Three of Swords represents a wound delivered through honesty, pain that arrives wrapped inside truth. At the center of this card sits information, words that reach your ears and break something open inside. You trusted a version of events that omitted the crucial piece, and this card holds what was missing. Someone allowed you to believe a narrative that shielded them, and the cards say that shield collapses soon. This card does not arrive to punish. It appears because the truth demands to be acknowledged and felt. The cut from the Three of Swords is surgical, landing precisely where the wound eventually produces healing. You will mourn what you believed was genuine, and that mourning is valid because your faith was honest. The tears arriving are not born from weakness. They flow because you loved openly while something stayed hidden. The Three of Swords honors every tear that falls because each one proves your heart invested with sincerity. The next card is the Tower, and when this appeared beside the Three of Swords, I paused completely. The Tower says the revelation arrives without a slow buildup. There is no gentle introduction preparing you. One conversation or one discovered detail dismantles a structure you relied on, and the collapse offers no warning. The Tower does not destroy to abandon you. It removes what was false, so real things remain standing. What crumbles was never rooted in honesty, and the Tower refuses to let you keep building there. The shock passes faster than you anticipate, because something inside you already suspected what now surfaces clearly. Your body recognized the fracture before your mind caught up, and the Tower validates that dismissed instinct. Every quiet suspicion you buried out of loyalty, the Tower says those carried more accuracy than allowed. Then we have the Five of Cups, and this card arrived carrying the emotional cost of discovery. The initial impact brings mourning so heavy it steals your breath, and this card holds that space. You will fixate on what was lost or fabricated, and that focus consumes you for a brief season. The crying the message warned about arrives here, and those tears wash through layers of suppressed knowing. Beneath the grief, this card holds a quiet promise, because two cups remain standing behind you unnoticed. The pain does not erase what is authentic. It only strips away what pretended to be real. After the tears settle, you will notice what survived intact, and that discovery shifts your entire perspective. What remains after the collapse belongs to you completely, and no hidden truth can threaten it anymore. You did not stumble onto this reading from boredom. Your spirit searched for confirmation it already carried. The timing of this message carries a window, and the cards confirm that window actively narrows each day. This truth approaches whether you feel ready or not, and the cards say it arrives sooner than anticipated. The energy here does not pause for comfort. It lands the moment the universe decides the falsehood expired. The energy turns toward you now, and the cards demand to speak directly to your inner world. Before this truth surfaces fully, the cards need to honor the emotional state you already carry. This part answers one question: what has been unfolding inside of you while the surface stayed calm? You sensed something was off long before tonight, and your spirit kept circling that unsettled feeling. The doubt in your gut is not new. It collected weight quietly over a long stretch of time. You buried it out of loyalty and love, out of the desperate hope that you were wrong. The first card on your side is the Four of Cups, and it shows exactly where you sat. The Four of Cups says you pulled back emotionally, not from apathy, but because caring began to ache. You withdrew from conversations that once felt effortless and started measuring every word before releasing it. This card confirms you caught small inconsistencies in the energy around you, details nobody else would notice. You filed those moments away in silence, telling yourself you imagined it or created problems from nothing. The quieter you kept those observations, the louder they echoed when you were alone with your own thoughts. The Four of Cups holds the exhaustion of choosing trust, while instincts inside you screamed the opposite. You extended the benefit of the doubt repeatedly until that habit drained you without your awareness. Certain nights you stared at the ceiling, dissecting details, hunting for a version of events that felt clean. None of them fit, and the Four of Cups says that discomfort hummed inside your body like static. You stopped trusting your own perception because trusting it meant confronting a reality you were not ready for. The next card is the Hanged Man, and this captured the suspension your mind has been locked inside. The Hanged Man says you exist between knowing and not knowing, frozen in a gap without ground. Part of you craves the full truth desperately, and another part dreads what that truth might cost. That suspension is not weakness or indecision. It is someone protecting themselves from a blow they already sense. You avoided the hard questions deliberately because the answers might dismantle something you built your stability around. The Hanged Man confirms you traded your own peace to preserve an illusion, and that trade cost deeply. You labeled your silence as patience, but the Hanged Man says that patience disguised a quiet terror. The weight of holding two realities at once pressed against your shoulders, and neither one offered you comfort. The fear beneath your composure is not about being wrong. It is about confirming you were right. That distinction carries enormous weight, and the cards see how it presses against every thought you hold. Then we see the Eight of Swords, and this mirrors the mental prison you built around this situation. The Eight of Swords says you convinced yourself that avoiding the truth directly somehow kept you safer. You wrapped invisible restrictions around your own curiosity, forbidding yourself from investigating what your gut flagged. The blindfold in this card was not placed by anyone else. You tied it with your own hands. You chose not to look because looking meant confronting, and confronting risked everything you held close. The Eight of Swords confirms the mental loop straining you, the constant cycling between suspicion and self-blame. You accused yourself of paranoia or sensitivity, when the cards say your radar was perfectly precise. The world told you to trust harder, and you obeyed while your body begged you to listen. Every alarm your body raised was accurate, and the Eight of Swords says you silenced each from love. That pattern of silencing yourself created the cage you inhabit, and the cards witness that cost without judgment. You deserve to know the cage has a door, and the knob has always been within your reach. Guilt for doubting someone you love, shame for suspecting them, the cards say release both of those. Your instincts were never the enemy. They were the only part of you speaking the complete, honest truth. What rises in your chest as you absorb these words? Trust it, because the cards validated every fragment. The confusion does not define you, and what the cards revealed about your inner landscape deserves deep respect. The atmosphere shifted hard, and I feel this person pressing into the reading with concealed weight. Their energy arrived hiding something, and the cards responded by dragging their motives into full view. This part reveals what lives behind their mask, the intentions they worked to keep buried from you. What the cards exposed here is difficult to deliver, but you earned the right to hear every piece. They are not who they presented themselves to be, and the gap between mask and truth is staggering. Something behind their eyes shifted long ago, and they hid that shift from you deliberately. The person you trusted operated under a different set of rules, ones you were never invited to see. The first card on their side is the Seven of Swords, and this exposed their behavior completely. The Seven of Swords says they moved in secrecy, taking calculated steps to keep truth from you. This was not a single lapse in judgment. It was a pattern maintained with disturbing precision over time. The Seven of Swords confirms they rehearsed stories before telling them, editing details to shield themselves. They understood what the truth would cost if surfaced, and decided your knowing was too high a price. This card shows a person operating behind a curtain, controlling exactly what you were allowed to see. The deception was organized and deliberate, and the Seven of Swords holds that blueprint without apology. They justified the secrecy by claiming it protected you, but the cards reject that narrative completely. The protection was never for your benefit. It existed to preserve their position and their comfort only. Every excuse they built crumbles under the weight of this card, and the truth stands alone uncovered. What they hid served them first, and the Seven of Swords says they knew that distinction all along. The next card is the Devil, and this exposed the chains keeping them locked inside the same behavior. The Devil says they grew addicted to the reality they built, the one where you never questioned them. Your trust became a resource they consumed without earning, and the Devil confirms they fed on that dynamic. This card holds a person trapped in their own shadow, aware of the harm, but unable to stop. The devil confirms they battled guilt in private, but never enough to choose honesty over comfort. The guilt they carried was real, but it never outweighed their desire to maintain the lie they constructed. They feared your reaction more than the moral weight of carrying something this heavy beside you in silence. That fear was selfish at its core, and the devil says they recognized it but chose it anyway. The chains in this card sit loose enough to remove, meaning they always have the power to confess. They chose silence because your pain felt less terrifying than the exposure their confession would have demanded. The devil holds the voice inside them that rationalized every hidden step, whispering that it was acceptable. Then we have the Five of Swords, and this revealed the wreckage they carry from their own choices. The Five of Swords says they won a battle that cost them the single thing that truly mattered. Keeping their secret came at the price of your connection, and they feel that exchange deeply. This card confirms a private grief nobody around them understands, mourning something they destroyed with their own hands. The Five of Swords shows someone who collected small wins through deception while losing the war inside entirely. The cost of their silence accumulates daily, and the Five of Swords says that debt finally broke. They replay the moment they chose silence over truth, and that memory haunts them with increasing pressure nightly. Regret lives in them despite the behavior being wrong, and the cards hold both truths without choosing. You are not delusional for sensing the fracture, and I need that validation to land in your chest. Their energy carries the fingerprint of someone who knows the unraveling already started and cannot be reversed now. The walls they maintained with such discipline are fracturing from within, and the cards watched every crack form. What the cards reveal does not excuse their choices, but it exposes every motive hiding beneath the surface. The fear driving them was never about you. It was about protecting access to what you freely gave. The energy just accelerated sharply, and I can feel the momentum of exposure building between every remaining card. Whatever kept this truth suspended in silence, the cards say, the structure holding it collapses from here. This part covers movement only, what is about to happen, and the steps already triggered beyond anyone's control. The wheels of consequence are turning now, and nothing on either side has the power to pause them. A critical shift already occurred behind the scenes, and the fallout from that shift heads directly toward you. The timeline between concealment and exposure shrank to almost nothing, and the cards confirm the gap closes fast. The first card in this section is Justice, and this landed on the table carrying absolute authority. Justice says the truth reaches you through a specific channel, a conversation or discovery that arrives uninvited. Someone speaks or something surfaces that pulls the entire hidden structure apart, and it happens without rehearsal. Justice confirms accountability is no longer optional for this person. The universe removed their ability to delay. The card does not negotiate or offer extensions. It arrives when the karmic debt demands immediate settlement. What was hidden operates on borrowed time now, and justice says that borrowed time has fully expired. The exposure will not feel accidental when it reaches you. It will carry the precision of something fated. You may receive information from an unexpected source, someone peripheral who holds a piece you were never given. That source does not deliver the truth with malice. They simply hold a detail that completes your puzzle. Justice confirms the confrontation that follows this discovery carries weight, and the conversation changes the dynamic permanently. Words exchanged in that moment will not be gentle, but they will carry honesty for the first time. You will ask questions you avoided for months, and justice says the answers arrive regardless of readiness. The next card is the Ten of Swords, and this confirmed an ending already set in motion. The Ten of Swords says the version of this you knew reaches its absolute lowest point before resetting. The bottom arrives not to destroy you, but to establish a floor beneath which nothing sinks any further. This card confirms a chapter closes with finality, and the closing carries a sharpness that takes your breath. The Ten of Swords does not allow partial endings. It demands full collapse of what was built falsely. Their ability to maintain the facade ends here, and this card shows the mask shattering in real time. What replaced honesty in this connection dies in this cycle, and the Ten of Swords officiates that burial. You will feel the ending in your body before your mind processes it, heaviness followed by strange relief. That relief is not betrayal of your pain. It is your nervous system recognizing the weight finally lifted. The ending clears the wreckage, so you can finally stand on ground that was never contaminated by deception. The final card is the Wheel of Fortune, and this shifted the trajectory from ending into turning point. The wheel says the exposure triggers a rotation in your circumstances, spinning you toward a completely new chapter. The ground beneath you rearranges rapidly after the truth lands, and doors you forgot existed begin cracking open. The Wheel of Fortune confirms this painful discovery becomes the catalyst that repositions your entire life forward. What felt like destruction in the moment reveals itself as redirection, and the wheel holds that promise firmly. Power returns to your hands in this cycle, and the wheel says you reclaim authority over your story. Decisions you make in the aftermath carry extraordinary weight because the wheel amplifies choices at turning points. You will sense the shift before the full truth lands, a disturbance in the ordinary rhythm of things. The signs appear subtle at first, then stack rapidly, each one confirming what the cards laid out today. Trust those signals when they surface, because the cards already verified each one before you encounter it. The countdown already started, and the cards say the remaining distance between you and this truth shrinks daily. Movement is no longer theoretical. It is active and accelerating, and the arrival draws closer each hour. The cards descended into a layer they were never supposed to reach, and the air turned heavy. This is what they buried so deep they barely visit it, the confessions living beneath everything. What surfaces from this layer carries an intensity the earlier parts could not match, and it demands stillness. The hidden truth here does not soften with time. It sharpens the longer it stays unspoken inside them. If your breathing changed while absorbing this, honor that shift, because your body speaks before your mind does. If something tightened in your throat or stomach, That is recognition arriving ahead of the actual words. The first card in this confession layer is the moon, and this dragged their deepest terrors into view. The moon says they exist inside a constant dread, terrified that the truth surfaces without their permission. Every calm moment gets interrupted by a flash of panic, wondering if today is the day it unravels. The moon confirms they built an alternate reality to survive in because the real one felt unbearable. In the silence of their mind, they confess, the person you encounter is a performance they maintain. The version they present to you requires daily upkeep, and the moon says that labor hollows them. They tire of the mask, but removing it costs you, and that equation paralyzes them every single night. The moon holds every restless hour they spent calculating whether your love could survive what they concealed. The moon reveals flashes of disgust toward their own reflection, brief moments they suppress immediately after. Those flashes are the confession their conscious mind refuses, the truth leaking through cracks they cannot seal. They know what they are, and the moon says that knowing sits inside them like something rotting quietly. The next card is the Nine of Wands, and this exposed the exhaustion hiding behind their careful composure. This card says they stand guard over their secret constantly, and that vigilance has hollowed them from within. Every interaction with you requires calculation, measuring words and expressions to prevent anything from slipping through. They confess privately that they forgot what it feels like to speak to you without filtering something first. This card holds a person on their last reserves, wounded by the weight, but refusing to release it. Their greatest hidden fear is not your anger, it is your silence after the anger passes completely. They can survive rage because it still carries connection, but your quiet indifference would destroy them entirely. They imagined your face receiving the truth, and the Nine of Wands says that image haunts their sleep. Your reaction was rehearsed 100 times in their head, and every version ended with permanent loss. The terror of that rehearsed outcome chains them to the secret, preferring agony over the risk of finality. That rehearsal is the confession they refuse to volunteer, proof they understood the gravity all along. Then we have the Two of Swords, and this revealed the denial they wrapped around themselves tightly. The Two of Swords says they decided the truth would hurt you more than the lie they maintained. That belief is the most dangerous confession here because it allowed them to sleep beside you at night. They repeated the idea that silence was mercy until the Two of Swords says that lie felt true. The blindfold in this card is theirs, tied by their own logic to avoid facing what they became. They confess without language that they lost the border between where performance ends and real self begins. This card holds the part of them frozen between confessing and hiding, paralyzed equally by both paths. The Two of Swords says they bargain with themselves nightly, trading peace for the illusion of control. They want relief from the weight without the cost of your knowing, and that impossible wish defines them. That desire is the confession at the center of everything, wanting freedom without accepting any consequences. Give yourself full permission to feel whatever stirred inside your body, because that physical response carries truth. You are not paranoid or too sensitive, and I need those words to anchor somewhere you cannot forget. Every signal your body received was intuition translating what your eyes were never permitted to see directly. The confessions in these cards confirm one thing: your instinct operated with flawless precision the entire time. We arrived at the final stretch, and what the cards hold here carries immense weight for your closing. Everything revealed across each part funnels into this moment, and the near future demands your attention. The first near future card is Strength, and this landed with quiet power that steadied the entire spread. Strength says you survived this revelation by walking directly through its center, not by avoiding the impact. In the coming weeks, your inner resolve hardens into something unshakable, forged by the fire of this truth. The pain does not weaken you, Strength confirms. It becomes raw material for a version nobody can break. The tears that fall become fuel, and Strength says you convert every ounce of grief into forward momentum. You will surprise yourself with the composure you carry after the initial shock passes through your system completely. Strength confirms a moment arrives where you stand taller than the wound, and it comes sooner than expected. The second near future card is the Ace of Swords, and this promises a breakthrough of total clarity. The Ace of Swords says the fog lifts permanently, and you see this situation with devastating precision. Every question that circled your mind for months receives its answer, and the answers arrive all at once. This card confirms a conversation or discovery cuts through the remaining confusion like a clean blade. After that moment, you will never wonder again, because clarity replaces every shadow that haunted you. The mental prison you occupied dissolves the instant full truth reaches you, and what replaces it is power. The clarity arriving strips away every layer of confusion, and what remains is a mind sharper than before. The advice card is the Empress, and this carries the most important guidance before that moment arrives. The Empress says, pour every ounce of energy back into yourself because you neglected your own needs. Stop giving emotional labor to a situation that drained you and redirect that devotion toward your healing. The Empress confirms nurturing yourself now is not selfish. It is the most strategic move you can make. Surround yourself with people who earn your trust through action, and release anyone who proved they cannot. The Empress says your abundance returns rapidly once you stop pouring into vessels that leaked from the start. The message opening this reading said, "It will hurt when you discover the truth, and you will cry." Each card across all 6 parts confirms that message without a single contradiction anywhere in the spread. The Three of Swords opened the wound with honesty, and the Tower confirmed the revelation arrives abruptly. The Five of Cups honored the tears that follow, recognizing every drop as proof of genuine investment. The Four of Cups saw your withdrawal, and the Hanged Man captured the suspension you endured quietly. The Eight of Swords mirrored your mental prison, built to avoid what your gut already confirmed inside you. The Seven of Swords exposed calculated deception, and the Devil revealed chains they chose to wear willingly. The Five of Swords showed wreckage their choices created, a war won at the cost of everything real. Justice launched the exposure forward, and the Ten of Swords sealed the ending of what was built falsely. The Wheel of Fortune turned destruction into a pivot, redirecting your path toward something honest and new. The Moon unveiled the dread they carry, and the Nine of Wands exposed the exhaustion of their mask. The Two of Swords revealed their denial, the final confession of someone trapped between truth and deception. Strength promises you emerge unbroken, and the Ace of Swords delivers the clarity you starved for desperately. The Empress asks you to redirect every resource inward, because what grows from honesty surpasses what was lost. This is real, and everything laid across this table tonight carried weight the universe aimed directly at you. The alignment of these cards was not random, and the precision of this message speaks entirely for itself. Picture yourself months from now, standing in full clarity, knowing the tears you shed washed away falsehood. That future version of you does not regret the truth. They thank this reading for preparing them completely. When this truth lands, and it will, return to this reading and leave a word so others believe. Thank you for trusting me with each card tonight and for staying through a reading that asked everything. The first near future card is Strength, and this landed with quiet power that steadied the entire spread. Strength says you survived this revelation by